Translation asterisk. Sometimes mental illnesses start this way. In toxic relationships, in weight loss, in the loss of belonging. I stop belonging to myself. I start giving up on myself. I give up on myself a little today, a little more tomorrow, because the other person is draining me, the other person is consuming me, and because I don't have the courage to stand up for myself, soon, I've lost the ability to manage. Then the other person becomes the owner of my access. They start controlling my happiness. It's so sad when you realize that your happiness depends on the other person and not on yourself. Something is wrong. We are making mistakes somewhere. The other person is not responsible for my happiness. The other person might participate in my happiness. The other person might even help promote my happiness. Let's not be hypocrites. A hurtful word from someone else hurts me. A motivating word from someone else also helps me be happier. But the first place where this happiness needs to be cultivated is in me. It's when I take care of myself, when I spend time on my projects. When there is a dependence, a kidnapping of subjectivity, a person has difficulty taking care of their own life. Have you ever known or maybe even experienced being in a relationship where you spend all your time looking for the other person, wondering what they are doing, where they went, and you should be taking care of your own life? These toxic relationships cause such great harm that sometimes a person can live in a relationship like this for 4 or 5 years. I know of dating experiences where the neurosis is so great that the couple spends all their time monitoring each other, 30, 40, 50 messages a day, having to report where they are, who they are with, what they did, and when they will be back. When the meeting should be to share the day, to be happy because they are together, it turns into a time to air grievances. Why didn't you tell me you went there? Why didn't you inform me? So, the meeting, which should be pleasant, to build what could be a marriage, becomes the space for cultivating neuroses. It can't be like this. If you realize you are too worried about your partner's life and neglecting your own, something is wrong. You need to first have the awareness that your primary responsibility is not the other person, it is yourself. You can only take care of the other after taking care of yourself. In a relationship, it starts with 2 healthy individuals. That is the right step for the relationship. I can only take a step towards the other after conquering my own territories. True charity only exists when I am free to love, free to give. I am not acting out of a need. Sometimes our charity is not out of love. It's because we want to appear virtuous. Sometimes our charity revolves around our need for recognition. We need the other to notice us, so we do charity. We do this and that, but it's all empty inside. It doesn't fulfill me, doesn't make me happy. My God, the charity I do needs to be in line with what I know about myself, this inner freedom motivating me to conquer more and more of my territories, knowing my flaws and possibilities, so that I can then take a step towards the other and do the same in their life. Instead of being a captor, I wanted to be a liberator. I don't want to establish a friendship or relationship where I play the role of the captor or the captive. There is only a point in establishing relationships if it is to help the other achieve this inner freedom. It's what we say, right? We need friends who make us better friends of Jesus. I learned from my friend Marina Petrola in Belo Horizonte a simple but true phrase. I need to have bonds with people who will motivate me to live this freedom. If someone wants to control me, putting a mark on my foot, I will run far away. It took me a long time to understand the process of freedom. Do you think I am going to take steps backward, away from the freedom God wants for me? I cannot allow this. I am sinning against my conversion. What is my conversion? What process does God want to realize in me? It is to be free. If I accept living in a relationship that restricts me, that cuts off my possibilities, that prevents me from reaching what God wants for me, this relationship is diabolical, even if it looks saintly, even if it seems nice. A mother can do this to her child, even the most sacred love, that of a mother, can imprison the child's subjectivity when she imposes her wishes on him, wanting him to do this or that, not being able to see him as a completely separate individual. My child is not an extension of my desires. It's very cruel to make my child an extension of my desires. If I didn't become a pianist, my child will be, even if they have no talent for it. Poor kid, staying up at night on the piano learning an instrument he doesn't like because the mother wants him to learn. Love is, above all, the investigation of the other's possibilities and then entering to promote them. If I can enter your life to help you achieve your best, I am welcome. But if I enter your life to prevent you from reaching your best, I make no difference. I can stay out of it. To establish a relationship, whether friendship, dating, or marriage, it must be with someone who is interested in your liberation. Otherwise, beware, this love can become a captivity. Let me tell you something. If you haven't read this book, please do. Some people think the book is a bit complicated in the first few pages. It's not. Often we need to overcome laziness. If you have the opportunity to read this book, do it. It's impressive how reading this book awakens in us the awareness that we live in bondage. Sometimes we don't realize we are bound because we have gotten used to captivity. Kidnapping works this way. After a while, we even start to identify with the captor. It's like a cult. You might have heard stories about people who, after being kidnapped for a long time, start to identify with the kidnapper. For survival, sometimes we are like this at home. Husband, wife, mother and child, friends, a bunch of people kidnapped, not able to shout out for freedom. Look, enough. I don't want to live this slavery. If you are here by my side, it should be to help me do what God wants to do in me. Please, do not be an obstacle to God's action in my life. This, folks, might sound harsh, but it is necessary. We need to have the courage to delimit our territory. Look, if you want to come in, take off your sandals, because my heart is sacred ground.